Alright guys, that's all I'm going to show. I'm going to put everything back in here and leave them be. I just think that it is super, super cool. Go and move out of the way. And I really just wanted to share that with you guys. So this is the cool hide. That's their humid hide. And this is one of their warm hides. Their humid hide is a warm hide and a humid hide. I change this up every couple of weeks. I move things around and rechange their entire thing. So this is what it looks like this week. But she is a Sunglow Tremper Albino Marble Eye female, and then that one back there is my little, well, she's hiding, but that is a Super Snow Het Belle. They're both female leopard geckos, and I'll tell you more about them in just a second. Sorry, I am currently sick, so you guys are going to have to ignore my voice and my appearance because I am very sick. I've been hanging out with this little guy today. This is Loki. He is a baby corn snake. But yeah, it's feeding time for these guys, so I'm about to feed him and my female momentarily. But I wanted to kind of let you guys know a little more about leopard geckos. And so a big question is, why do leopard geckos eat their skin? Leopard geckos eat their skin because it's a really good way for them to get calcium, especially in the wild. When they're shedding, they can eat their skin, and then there they go. They've got a calcium supplement. Now, in captivity, I do have a little bowl right here. This little red bowl, I do keep calcium powder in. I actually need to add a little more and clean this out. It's been in here for a couple of weeks. So I do offer them calcium at any given time. It's just plain calcium. It does not have any vitamins or added supplements. I use a calcium. I forget which one it is, but it has extra vitamins and things like that in it. I dust their crickets and their mealworms and that, but that is just, that calcium bowl stays in there at any given time. That way they always have a way to get calcium. But yeah, they eat their skin because it's a way to get some calcium. So a couple of fun facts about leopard geckos is that their tail, you can pretty much base if a leopard gecko is healthy or if it is not healthy based on the fatness of their tail. So I'm sure you guys noticed with them, their tails were really very fat. Now, if their tails are skinny, especially if they're just straight and they aren't big and fat, it means they're unhealthy. So the fatter the tail, the healthier the leopard gecko. It's kind of like a camel's hump. The bigger the hump, the more fat that is stored in there. It's the same concept with leopard geckos. So they are very small. They do have minimal care requirements, but that doesn't mean that you can skimp out on the care requirements that they do need. So it's just food and diet, you know, most of the time it's they don't eat like vegetables, but you can feed them crickets and you can feed them mealworms and different other kinds of insects, waxworms, and you can add the vitamin and mineral supplements. There's a cricket. So I do always provide a water dish as well, and so having a water dish in there is very, very important. Their cages and habitat, they are in an Exoterra 20 gallon. I don't remember what the exact measurements are, but it's like, I'm pretty sure it's equal to a 20 gallon, but it's an Exoterra. And so this cage, I've got 2 female leopard geckos in. I could house a third one in here. I am thinking about getting a third female just to kind of make sure that these girls aren't really fighting. Sometimes you can house females together, but you can never ever house a male leopard geckos together. So you can house like one male leopard gecko with females, but then you have to worry about breeding. But if you have just females, you can house multiple females together. And these two, I've noticed, have kind of been just a little nippy at each other, not too much. I'm thinking about adding some extra hides, and I'm also thinking about just getting a third female anyway, and if there's a third female, that should help. If there's any problems with them too, they'll build a third female, I would imagine, would help kind of dispute those problems. So with substrate, you don't really want to use a loose substrate with these guys because they can ingest it, and so I used paper towels actually with all of my reptiles except for my corn snakes, but all of my reptiles I use paper towels with, even my bearded dragons, because it's honestly way easier to clean up. My Pac-Man frog is on dirt, and these guys here are on pine, or not pine, wow, whoo, pine is very, very bad. They are on, shoot, what is it called? Now I can't even think. It's called, what is this called? Why can I not think all of a sudden? Aspen. Wow, that was a really bad lap. So they are on aspen. Do not ever, 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 please, do not ever house your reptiles in pine. Pine is very, very bad to all reptiles and most mammals. Do not use pine for any animal. Don't use it for rabbits. Don't use it for hamsters. Don't use it for reptiles. Don't use pine. So they do need different hides. They need a humid hide, a warm hide, and a cool hide. The warm hide is usually placed on top of their heating pad. They do have a heating pad right here on the side of the tank, and then they have their cool side as well. They do not need UV bulbs or basking bulbs, and so I just use an ordinary bulb up here just to give some light during the day, because leopard geckos are nocturnal, so they don't need the heating and the UV like you would have if you have a bearded dragon. So we just use an under tank mat. Do not use a heat rock. They can get too hot and they can burn if you use a heat rock. They just don't know. So they do need access to a moist area to aid in shedding, as you guys saw earlier. So whenever they're getting ready to shed, I just, I keep the humid hide in there regardless, but when they're getting ready to shed, I spray down the humid hide a lot, and I do raise the humidity in the tank just a little, not by much though. So yeah, it's pretty easy to kind of keep these guys and maintain them as long as you do it right. I'm almost forgetting here. The humidity in the tank at any normal given time should be between 20 and 40% in the tank. And right now, if I'm not mistaken, yes, theirs is at 50%. So like I said, when they're getting ready to shed, I do let the humidity rise just a little bit. And right now it is at 50%, which is a little higher. And I usually just do that for a day or two, just help aid in the shedding, and I personally have not seen anything wrong or anything bad about that. I'm sure every person would be different with their animals, but so far it's worked pretty well with us. So yeah, that's kind of that. Why do leopard geckos eat their skin? It's a calcium intake, and so I hope this helped you learn just a little bit, which I do kind of want to show you guys something, because I can see now it's stuck on her foot. You see my cat over here. You go right there. So with leopard geckos, you never, ever, ever want to let the skin be stuck on their foot. It can cause loss of fingers and limbs. And so with her, I saw it down here on this foot right here in this corner. It's stuck. And so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to very, very carefully pull the skin off. Because if you leave it there, she will continue to grow, the skin continues to dry up and shrink, and it can cause them to actually lose toes. And so, hey, a little sneaky. It's falling off. So there we go. She pulled her foot right out for me. So now you can see. And now I'm going to put her back. Her other toes seem fine, so I'm going to let her finish her job, and she doesn't have much left, so makes that a little easy for her to get to. So now she can get the rest of that, and that's pretty much it with these guys. Hi, kiddo. So yeah, like I said, they're pretty easy to take care of. Just you can check on things anywhere. Just really research and look into them, and before getting one. But I do love my leopard geckos, and I do think they make great pets. So anyway, can you say bye-bye? Bye. See you next time.